Okay, before we move on to our new solving problems, let's just review the process of adding fractions one more time. Again, what we're supposed to do is look at the denominators of the problem and count by the bigger one until we find a number that both of them can go into. 4 does not divide into 6, but it does divide into 12. So we rewrite our 5, 6, and 3/4. Again, as you get better, you'll pretty much do it this way. So that's why I'm going to start doing it this way from here on out. Again, now you say to get 6 to 12, you would have multiplied by 2. That makes 10 over 12, and we're already in the format we need to be in. Same thing here. To get from 4 to 12, we would multiply by 3, which makes 9. 10 over 12 plus 9 over 12 equals 19 over 12, and that would be our stopping point. So again, less work. You find your denominator, put it on the bottom, rename it this way, and again, that way you kind of get used to it. Same thing here. 3 and 2, count by 3s. 2 does not go into 3. But it does go into 6. What I'm going to do is rewrite both of these fractions below them with a 6 on the bottom and see what I have to do to change them. 3 goes into 6, that would be 2 times. 4 times 2 turns into 8. 2 goes to 6, that would be 3 times, which would make this 21. 8 over 6 plus 21 over 6, again add the top, 29 over 6. And that is your answer. So hopefully you're getting that. Again, if you're having issues and you want to kind of understand what's going on, please make sure you call or email so I can try to help you out. Today we look at one-step multiplication problems, but before we get to that, let's make sure you remember that solving skill involves, or your solving skill improves as you learn to see the small differences in each type of problem. Consider the following older problems below. Can you decide what value needs to be moved? So take about 5 seconds. Look at each one and see if you can identify what number you would move in each one. If you can, that's good. First thing you should have solved was that it's a positive 5. How we move it is by subtracting. Second thing you should have solved is that it's negative 13. Again, that's negative 13. You move that by adding it. And the third thing you should have noticed was it was the 6, or the positive 6, which means you would move it by subtracting it. All right, so what you should notice in those problems is that our target value is on the same side of the variable. Nothing changes with multiplication. Keep that same initial focus in identifying the value. Look at the following problems and try to see if you can identify what needs to be moved, because it's really not that bad. So take again about 5 seconds, look at these 3 things, and see if you can make a quick decision as to what you think has to be moved. Here, it should be the 18, because it's 18 with the x. Here it should be the 19 because it's 19 with the x. And over here it should be the 15 because it's 15 with the x. Again, that's general strategy. It's general instinct. You know it, you just got to learn to trust it. So our logic is still the same. When you solve, there's not really a shift in what we're trying to do. Your true focus should be on how we do it. So in other words, it's not what we're moving, it's how do we move the 18. Because we should be able to identify that 18 has to go. The question is, how do we get rid of it? Just like in the other ones, how did we get rid of something that is being added? Well, we should know to subtract it. How do we know to get rid of something that's being subtracted? We should know to add it. So we know that addition and subtraction are opposites. And so whenever something was being added, we use subtraction. Whenever something was being subtracted, we used addition. Those have been covered, and you probably mastered each one. But again, notice our answers are opposites. Addition and subtraction are opposite operations. That's why we look at them as they are. Our job today is a new situation, but again, I know that you can do it. So just, buckle in. And again, if you've already got it, you should be okay anyway. So how do we move a number that's being multiplied? Well, what's the opposite of multiplication? If you look at your calculator, it tells you. Addition, subtraction are opposites, which means multiplication and division are opposites. So you would divide, all right? The tough part of teaching this is that we are not in class for your work, and because of that, I want you to focus on showing steps. Our paper examples will be slightly different than our computer examples, so I'm going to show you how we do it on paper, copy that down, but mainly copy down the parts that's going to go on the computer. So when you see 16y equals 112, we understand that 16 is what has to go, and it's being multiplied, and so we need to get rid of it by dividing. And on paper you will show divided by 16, divided by 16, and cancel that out. Y would come down. 112 divided by 16 is 7, and so that would be my answer. And that would be the 4 boxes if I could do it, but you can't show that on computer. Same thing here. 21 is within, which means obviously we want to get rid of the 21, And since that is being multiplied, again, you got to kind of recognize that. The way you move that is by dividing by 21. This is not how we do it on a computer, but this is for paper. And so now you do 168 divided by 21, which is 8 over here and over here, because that cancels out. So if you recall, the fraction line is used to show division. Again, unfortunately, MathXL does not allow easy method of showing division this way. So just know that whenever you do this in MathXL, you'll actually have to write your division sign to get it done. So again, let's look to some examples from your work before moving on to your homework, and that should do it. Consider this example. 17m equals 153. What value is with m? Well, again, that would be the 17. And so then it's going to say solve the equation just like we did before. But again, in those 4 boxes, you're not going to put over 17. You're going to put divided by 17, divided by 17. If you don't know how to find that, email me and it'll be fine. Then in your last boxes, we know that goes away. Bring down your m, type in 153 divided by 17 to get the answer of 9. And that is it. All right. Same thing, consider the equation 117 equals 13k. What value is with k? That's easy enough to see. It's the value that's attached to it. And so when we go to solve this, we just have to say, okay, how do we get rid of 13 times k? We do divided by 13, divided by 13. 117 divided by 13 is 9 again. And that would be your answer. So again, the only difference today is that instead of plus the number and minus the number, is whenever you see the multiplication, you do divided by the number. And again, we will have another day on this next week, and so that'll be there. But again, just make sure you've got it. But before closing, I want to make a quick note to students who are using alternative methods, and by that I mean the stuff that you shouldn't be using. You might be able to get away with these methods right now, but you're honestly missing out on your best chance to learn how to do it correctly. Again, you're going to see these problems again. And every time you see them, they're going to be more and more complex. And at some point, you're going to be forced to figure out. And the problems only get longer and longer. If you learn the process, you can actually keep up. But if you don't, it's going to just pretty much leave you behind. But please do your best to keep integrity in this course so you can actually understand the material. There's no need to cheat yourself out of the pride in knowing that you conquered this. And I know you have what it takes to make it. All right. So the homework has all the questions that'll be on the quiz tomorrow. So again, please contact me with your questions. Just make sure you show me the work in that email, and other than that, good luck, and I will talk to you later.